Sharik Siddiqui is asking, what accounts for the passionate support for the Taliban in Pakistan and amongst the diaspora? What are likely to be the knock-on effects in the region of the Taliban getting increasing influence within Pakistan once they're done with the We're Cool Now Act? And then he also wrote, he's like, I've started to point this out of late as my face and name causes confusion. I'm not Pakistani myself. Right. So why is there passionate support for the Taliban in Pakistan?
Oh, in Pakistan? Well, now or before? Because right now, Taliban is enjoying, a lot of Muslims like being on the side of the victor. Like, this is the same reason why ISIS was getting a lot of support, like, from around the world, because they were gaining a lot of territory really fast, and they looked like they were defeating superpowers. A lot of Muslims were so impressed by, it's by their victories, and they liked Islam being on the winning side. Again, I know a lot of Muslims don't support them, but a lot of Muslims do, and that's the fact that they were winning made a lot of Muslims want to be on the winning side and take some pride in the power of Islam and the power of an Islamic group. Like, it's hard, like, ever since World War I, it was hard to be proud of Islamic power, given that they have been out of power ever since World War I, and the Islamic world has this inferiority complex because Islamic countries are much weaker and much more backwards than Western countries. So this inferiority complex, anytime you see like ISIS winning against all odds, or now Taliban for the second time defeating a superpower. The first time defeating a superpower was the Soviet Union, and now the second time defeating a second superpower, being the United States of America. It's just hard not to see why a lot of people, a lot of Muslims would not be like, yeah, that's great. Like, we want, actually, Ali, I don't know if you've seen some Muslim Facebook pages or YouTube channels, they talk about Taliban, and you could see the comment section is so divided. Like, a lot of Muslims are like, yes, this is great. Taliban, Afghanistan has been liberated. Oh yeah, look at our Muslims brother winning and defeating the infidels and stuff. And a lot of Muslims responding to it like, are you guys kidding? Like, you guys are other Muslims responding to these Muslims are like, why is there so much support for Taliban? Like, this is insane. So I see a lot of Muslims actually being shocked by other Muslims around the world, noticing how much support the Taliban has around the world in the Muslim community, and these other Muslims are actually surprised. What are you saying?
I actually think that the premise of this, like, why is there so much support? It's not a whole lot of support. I mean, there's a lot of Muslims that are actually very tired of the Taliban. It's not like it was in the late 90s, but I think the support that there is, there are two main reasons. One of the things is exactly what Armin is saying, that the Taliban have. That's where the 9/11 attacks were orchestrated. They gave Osama bin Laden the safe haven, and they fought against all of these different empires, and so did their ancestors, the Mujahideen, and they drove them all out. So there's a thing that these are part of the whole Muslim world, and they're standing up against these superpowers and these empires. So that's an element of pride. Politically in Pakistan specifically, like, there's the army in Pakistan and the intelligence agency there, the ISI, they have other political reasons for supporting the Taliban as well. I mean, they use it as a buffer against India, gives them some sort of strategic advantage, or so they think, and that plays into it as well. But I think that those are the main issues. But I don't think that it's like it was. It's the way that it was in the late 90s when they first emerged.
Well, I don't know. I think like this might actually be better marketing for them than in the late 90s, because this is like the United States we're talking about. Like, defeating the United States is going to look very appealing to a lot. I mean, a lot of Islamists, like, right now, the branding of the whole radical Islamist movement was on the decline because how big of a failure like ISIS ended up being. This actually might bring some of that back, you know what I mean? And also depending on how Taliban operates in Afghanistan, if they're how successful they are, if they continue, we'll see, right? But right now, is that whole movement seemed to have gotten a boost because this is great marketing for it. I don't know what's going to happen in the future. With regards to Pakistan, though, I just want to mention that Pakistan does like the influence of. I mean, when we say Pakistan, we have to be more specific, like the ISI, like, because there are many groups within the Pakistan's government that don't like Taliban increasing power. But this is good for those elements in Pakistan's military that would see their influence in Afghanistan increasing, and also like as a proxy. The Taliban is basically kind of like what Hezbollah is to Iran. That's what Taliban is to Pakistan.
Yeah, I was gonna say, because Hezbollah holds its own against Israel, right? Like in 2006, like they do now. So they get a lot of support because of that. Yeah.
However, I don't know if this is going to be good for. I do think, like, I don't. Ali, you correct me because you might not know this better. Boosting Taliban in Pakistan might not be as appealing for the same elements in Pakistan as boosting Taliban in Afghanistan. You know what I mean? Like, at some point, if the Islamists in Pakistan become too powerful, that would be a competing source of influence to the military. I don't think that the military wants to use Taliban as a proxy, but not as a competing source of power.
Yeah.
So that might be an issue. Like, this is like
that has happened before. Remember when they used to talk about the Pakistani Taliban and the Afghan Taliban? You have the Haqqani people, and so the Pakistan, like in Swat, when that in Swat, which is in the northwestern frontier, the Khyber Pakhtunkhwa in Pakistan, is where, you know, that girl was flogged. And then that caused a huge issue, and then the Taliban basically taken over. So the Pakistani Taliban, the Pakistan army went up against, but, you know, with the Afghan Taliban, they were actually trying to form alliances. They were more sympathetic. So that is going to be a complication. I don't know if that's going to resurface again, but it could. You're right. So,
hey guys, if you want to join these streams live, get your comments and questions read by Ali and Armin and the guests, and most importantly, to get full access to the full video versions of all these episodes, become a patron. Link in the description below.